After the Fujian entered service, it immediately moved into a new phase of naval development in which the ship was no longer viewed only as an engineering project but as an operational platform that must integrate with other vessels and aircraft. The most significant aspect of its early steps was that it carried out its first full live force maritime training in a coordinated formation very shortly after its commissioning. This indicates that the technical, procedural, and crew training groundwork had been underway for months or years prior to the formal commissioning ceremony. The commissioning simply marked the point at which the Navy considered the ship structurally complete and functionally ready to begin higher-level exercises. The carrier's role in this first live force training involved guiding and coordinating the movements of two escort vessels, a Type 055 destroyer and a Type 054A frigate. The Type 055 destroyer is among the most capable warships in the fleet, equipped with universal vertical launch systems capable of operating missiles such as the HHQ-9B long-range surface-to-air missile, the YJ-18 anti-ship missile, and land attack cruise missiles, although the exact loadout at any moment varies with mission requirements. The Type 054A frigate is designed for anti-submarine and general escort duties, usually carrying systems such as the HQ-16 medium-range air defense missile, anti-submarine rockets, and torpedo launching equipment. When operating beside a carrier, these ships do more than navigate. They provide layered defenses, maintain sensor coverage, and carry out tactical adjustments based on the carrier's maneuvers. The Fujian itself represents a major step in China's naval aviation due to its electromagnetic catapult system and arresting gear arrangement. Unlike ski jump systems, electromagnetic catapults allow aircraft to take off with heavier payloads and greater consistency. During its first formation training, the Fujian launched several types of carrier-based aircraft in repeated cycles. The aircraft included the J-35 stealth fighter, a fifth-generation twin-engine design optimized for low observable characteristics, the J-15T, an upgraded heavy fighter adapted for catapult-assisted takeoff, the J-15DT, an electronic warfare variant designed for jamming, suppression, and electronic support roles, and the KJ-600, an early warning aircraft intended to provide airborne radar coverage. These launches tested the catapult's performance under various load conditions. For each aircraft, the catapult must adjust power application, launch acceleration, and end speed parameters. For a stealth fighter like the J-35, the system must ensure a smooth acceleration that does not overstress the airframe. For heavier aircraft such as the KJ-600, the catapult must produce higher output to allow the plane to reach safe takeoff speed with its surveillance equipment on board. Deck crews must coordinate attaching the aircraft to the catapult shuttle, clear technical checks, communicate with pilots, signal readiness, and maintain precise timing with arresting crews preparing for incoming landings. The arresting gear system is equally important. Aircraft returning to the carrier rely on tail hooks to catch the arresting cables stretched across the deck. These cables must absorb the impact and bring the aircraft to a stop over a short distance. During the training, repeated landings by different aircraft types allow deck operators to evaluate how the arresting gear behaves under varying mass and approach speed conditions. A J-35 approaches differently from a J-15T due to differences in aerodynamic drag and landing profile, so the system must be prepared for multiple patterns. The coordinated search and rescue practice represented another significant component. The formation simulated an emergency situation involving a carrier-based aircraft. In such scenarios, the carrier typically changes speed and direction to facilitate recovery efforts, while the escort ships reposition to create a search perimeter or provide communication relays. Aircraft in the air wing may be reassigned to search patterns or to maintain airspace clearance. The goal of such training is to allow every element of the formation to respond immediately without confusion. This requires dense communication between the carrier's operations center, flight deck controllers, the destroyer command crews, the frigate's operations teams, and the pilots performing secondary tasks. The efficiency of these reactions determines whether the formation can handle real emergencies. The speed at which this integrated training occurred suggests the Navy had confidence that foundational testing had already been completed. Before commissioning, crews likely performed repetitive exercises involving catapult dry runs, simulated arresting cycles, deck movement drills, emergency stop procedures, and integrated communications simulations. The commissioning marked the transition to actual coordinated operation at sea rather than isolated dockside or limited sea trial tasks. Even though this first formation-level operation was a major milestone, it does not indicate that the carrier is already fully ready for deployment. A carrier must eventually complete many levels of increasingly complex exercises. One of the next stages will likely involve sustained flight operations over extended periods. This requires the flight deck to generate aircraft sorties at a predictable pace, maintain fuel and weapons handling efficiency, ensure that maintenance crews can keep aircraft operational despite fatigue accumulation, and verify that the ship's logistics and internal transport systems function smoothly. Another stage involves nighttime operations. Launching and recovering aircraft in darkness requires refined control procedures, disciplined deck signaling, and absolute confidence between pilots and deck crews. Night landings introduce additional risks, especially for larger aircraft such as early warning platforms. Extended operations over days or weeks will be tested later, requiring the formation to practice replenishment at sea procedures. In such exercises, a replenishment ship must transfer fuel, ordnance, and supplies to the carrier and its escorts while the formation remains underway. This requires practice with fuel hoses, cargo transfer rigs, and timing coordination, while maintaining alertness for potential threats. As the Fujian moves through these phases, its air wing must also expand its internal cohesion. The J-35 pilots must practice tactical missions that integrate with the ship's command system. The J-15T must refine procedures for strike missions, interception duties, and air superiority tasks. The J-15DT electronic warfare aircraft must synchronize with the fighter elements to provide jamming support and sensor management. The KJ-600 early warning aircraft must learn to act as the extended vision of the formation, distributing tactical data back to the carrier and its escorts. The presence of the new Type 076 amphibious assault ship, which has entered early sea trial phases, indicates the Navy is constructing a broader aviation-capable force that will eventually operate alongside the Fujian. The Type 076 is expected to support fixed-wing operations similar to those of the carrier, although on a smaller scale, and also accommodate rotary wing and unmanned aircraft. Its development runs parallel to the Fujian's progress, showing that the naval aviation structure is expanding both in size and mission diversity. The overall meaning of this first live force training is that the Fujian is transitioning from a technologically advanced platform to a functioning operational system. The completion of early integrated tasks, the coordinated launch and recovery of multiple aircraft types, the responsiveness of the escort vessels, and the ability of the formation to adjust during emergency scenarios all point to a structured path toward full readiness. Many stages still lie ahead, including multi-domain integration with submarines and land-based aircraft, joint task operations with amphibious assault ships, high-tempo combat simulations, and longer deployments. However, the speed and confidence with which the first formation-level tasks were conducted demonstrate that the groundwork has been solid and that the vessel is progressing steadily toward full operational capability.